Welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads. I'm Patrick. I'm joined by Kevin, as always. He's over here now. Or he's always over there. Joined by Kevin. We're talking about E3, and you're over here. I don't know why I keep looking over there. This is really screwing me up. Sorry, I have a new setup, and it's messing me over. Kevin, by the magic of the interwebs, is over on this side, even though we're not in the same state. We're talking about E3 and what led up to E3. We wanted to kind of section this out, and we will be talking about E3 in a separate YouTube video, same podcast, so it'll all be lumped together because you podcast listeners don't mind listening to us ramble. So starting out, we didn't have backwards compatible, and I think that either I missed it or maybe Xbox was just trying to be really quiet and let E3 happen.
Well, the last thing they did for backwards compatibility was LA Noire and Midnight Club and I think San Andreas for GTA. Yeah. Like they have reached a point where they've got most of the big ones out there, and so
I agree.
That's fine. But there's plenty of news, including one of my favorite things that I heard about. Yep. We have a release date for Code Vein. Code Vein is coming out 9/27. And I already started the countdown on my phone and everything. Like I am ready for this game.
You're excited about that. I am too. There's a lot of games coming out. I mean, it's a time as adults, as gamers who are adults. I'm now at the point now where I have to look at games and go, "This is amazing." Am I going to have time to play it? Code Vein, I think I'm going to have to I'm going to have to carve out some time. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is coming out. Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out. There is so much great stuff coming out before Christmas. It's wonderful.
Slight spoilers for later. Mm-hmm. February 22nd, when everything comes out. We've got 3 massive titles coming out. We have Anthem. Mm-hmm. We have what's the other one?
Division 2.
We have Anthem, Division 2, and Days Gone.
Yeah,
all coming out on the same day, and then allegedly, mm-hmm. Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be out about 3 weeks before that. So just make all the money you can until September, and then try to live off it for the next 6 months.
Yeah, basically.
Oh my goodness.
All my money is going to be gone. Speaking of that, coming up right around the corner, July 3rd, release date for Red Faction Guerrilla Warfare. This is my favorite Red Faction game. Now it may be a Final Fantasy situation because it was my first Red Faction game, but the openness of this game and being able to go up and destroy anything there. I did find it funny. Again, we're spoiling stuff, but talking about Rust 2, they said any vehicle you see you can drive, and I'm thinking I could do that in Red Faction because they were like, I took everything. And
also one of my favorite things to do in Red Faction Guerrilla, and if you haven't played it, this is just kind of an example of what you can do. Sure. Okay, so I went up, floor by floor, and I was trying to clear out enemies, and then I was like, wait a minute. I can just destroy this building. And I took a sledgehammer to the 4 posts holding the building up, and the whole building falls, rocks, collapses, kills everyone.
Yep.
And I was like, problem solved.
Yep. Mine,
do that kind of
it's awesome. So creative. Mine is similar because it does involve blowing up a building that way. And I hate even saying this because doing it I felt so horrible. But I essentially, I can't remember who it was that did it, but the first attack of the World Trade Centers in the 90s was done with the van.
Yeah.
So I essentially did that. I took a truck and I put propane tanks in the truck, which is really hard to do the right way because they move around as you drive. And then I drove into a facility and I put the vehicle right up against one of their buildings because I didn't have one that I could drive into that wasn't like a warehouse. And then I remote detonated it.
Yeah,
and it's also insane.
It's also funny because after you play this game for a little bit, and I promise we'll move on to actual new games, plenty of news, is that after you play this game for a couple of hours, when you're out driving around, you start to analyze the structural integrity of buildings around you, and you're like, how would I take this bridge down if I had a bunch of explosives?
Basically. Basically,
it's
just
fun.
from a hypothetical intellectual perspective, not an actual. That's completely it. On to more news, because we do have to kind of go through this kind of stuff relatively quick. Square Enix shut down the Go series, which I'm okay with. I liked a lot of the things that they did, but I feel like kind of like when a TV series ends or a book series ends, and some people are sad, but I can look at it and say, you know what? They accomplished what they needed to accomplish. They did a lot of great things, and I don't think that this isn't one of those situations where they're shutting down a studio. They're just saying, "Hey, we're done with this series. We can work on other things."
It was a cool concept, and for those of you who are into turn-based strategy, how to do this, like, it was a really fun set of puzzles. But between there were 2 Tomb Raider ones, 1 Hitman 1, and 1 Deus Ex Machina. Like, there's a lot of content out there if it's something that you enjoy.
Agreed.
And it's okay to move on instead of turning it into Angry Birds. How many different versions of this game can we sell you on?
Thank you. Yes.
That's how I see it, and I feel like they went out on top with just this solid mobile and portable offering.
I've loved it. Speaking of things and moving on, the game that no one will ever move on from is Tetris, and I think that depending on how you look at it, Tetris is still either the or one of the top selling games of all time because it's been on every single platform ever. And because of that, I guess PlayStation VR decided, you know what, we're gonna come out with a new game. The new Tetris Effect, which is from the creator of Rez. It looks amazing, but at the same time,
Luminous.
Luminous, yeah.
Luminous.
Makes perfect sense now. It looks visually stunning. It looks great. Now, have you looked at any of the gameplay on this other than the teaser trailer? Do we know anything about the gameplay here? Is it just Tetris with amazing effects? Because that's okay too.
Yeah, not a whole lot, but it does look like it's going to have some interesting things that we're going to cover, and like different game modes and things like that.
That's cool. So no segue whatsoever. Hard full stop into Steam. Apparently decided, you know what? We're just going to let you put whatever on here as long as you're not breaking the law, because we're tired of policing you. Horrible thing, and I could go on a huge tirade about this. You've heard me talk about it. One of the best people to listen to about that, because it's very succinct reasoning, is listening to Jim Sterling in regards to his videos on when it comes to Steam, when it comes to policing it. Whether or not you like the guy or not, his videos on this have been excellent, because the asset flipping that's been going on there, or I don't know, how about a game that's on Steam right now that lets you simulate an AIDS outbreak, or a game that is a school shooting simulator or mass shooting simulator. How are these? I mean, to me, censorship's one thing, but at some point you have to go, okay, can we draw a line? Like Steam took out the Tetris. I don't know if you saw this, the slave boat game. Did you see that?
Yeah.
The one that you pack in slaves like Tetris.
Yeah.
Yeah, they took that out because they're like, hey, that's completely horrible and disgusting, and you're bad people. But now they're basically saying, as long as you're not breaking the law, do whatever you want.
Yep. And basically, you just said everything that I have to say on the topic, except I would not put Jim Sterling into the succinct category.
Okay.
The man goes on for a while.
He goes on for a while, yes.
But at the end of it, I feel I have a better understanding of the different sides, and I appreciate that.
Sure.
Jim Sterling does great work. Go check him out, and definitely for this particular topic, it's worth a listen.
Yeah, asset flipping, if you're not familiar with it, basically is people will go grab free assets. They will make a demo with free software, make a demo, go through a tutorial of like how you can make a video game, and they'll take what they made and they'll sell it to you for $1.
Yeah.
It's like you didn't do anything. You literally
you can do that in an afternoon.
Yeah, there's a company that sued him famously for $10 or $15 million for, and they being one guy came out with 18 games in 2 years.
Yeah.
because he was just asset flipping the whole time. Not even removing watermarks on Getty image stuff too. I mean, that's technically illegal. Anyways,
and all of that's going to be out. But you know what else is going to be out?
What's that?
September 4th, Forsaken is the next Destiny 2 expansion. And I don't know anything about the lore of Destiny, but I didn't know there were dragons. There are dragons apparently. The trailer that I saw for like gameplay and stuff looked really amazing and epic. And I appreciate that they keep going bigger and bolder and better. And so for Destiny 2 players, this is going to be their first big expansion since launch. So I'm interested in seeing what lessons they learned from launch and what it is that they're bringing now into the game.
Yeah. Now, if there was a lull in the amount of games coming out, then I may look at this and say, hey, I'll jump back in and check it out for you guys. I'm sorry. I can't. There's way too much going on here. There's way too many games coming out that I think that, one, I want to enjoy myself, and two, there's games that I think that a lot of people want to hear about, so I'm going to be doing that instead. I won't be, even though I'm really tempted, I'm not going to go back to Fallout, even though I'm really tempted to do it. But at that time, I may be in the Fallout beta. I'm still trying to figure that out. By the way, the Fallout, spoilers for E3-ish, but this is pre-E3. We got this announced pre-E3, Fallout 76. It was announced by Bethesda, and later on, there were rumors about what it really was, and it is going to be an online game. We'll talk about it more later. But there's a Power Armor edition that was available for pre-order. That's a $200 edition with and normally, yes, special editions, this is pricey. It has the map, it has like the helmet and the game with everything, and you guaranteed to be in the beta. Sold out in less than 2 hours.
It's a wearable helmet. Because I remember when the Halo 3 one launched, and they're like, hey, you get a Master Chief helmet, and you get it, and it's like this big.
Yeah. That's why I bought my Thanos glove that I have, because it's wearable and I can put it up it's above my fridge actually. But the Power Armor helmet, I thought this would be really cool. I may or may not wear it, but I thought that'd be cool. And my idea was I will wait and see if the beta is good, then I will go all in and I will give them $200. But those are pre-orders are sold out. I don't know if they're going to be available at launch. I may Sweet Talk GameStop, $200 for that, but you get guaranteed into the beta if you pre-order that. Yes. If you pre-order the regular, you're not guaranteed.
Yep.
So
that's how games work now.
That's how games work now. I'm waiting to hear about the beta, but we'll talk more about that later. Basically, what I'm saying is I'm not going to have time for Destiny. I'm sorry. We will tell you about it as stuff comes out. Let us know, by the way, if you are playing Destiny 2 and if you like it, because I got to a point where I got really I lost momentum. I lost momentum and interest. Let me know if it does get better, because right now I'm kind of putting that on the back burner because Anthem kind of seems like it's going to take that place.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that later.
Speaking of games that people like dedicate themselves to, and if there's somebody that's playing like one game primarily, Destiny is definitely one of those games. It's kind of one of those, you schedule your life around this game.
Yeah. It used to be World of Warcraft. Now it's...
And another one is Overwatch.
Yep.
And Overwatch is beginning its third year. They're doing a lot of social features and endorsements where you're able to not only give like player of the game or props like that, but you can actually promote players who do well and say, this guy was a good team player, which I think is a really positive step, because before what they had was you can say, oh, this person's awful, I don't want to play with them anymore. But there was no way to give props, to give acclaim to somebody who did really well, somebody who brought the team together, whatever they did. And so being able to pass those on is a really cool thing. They're also changing Symmetra in some pretty significant ways. Not going to go into them here, but like she is much more offensive and viable.
Okay.
And I really like where they're going with it. I'm definitely going to jump back in and check that out. Plus, there's a Symmetra outfit that I really want.
Yay. What I really want, and I didn't 100% know that I really wanted it until the more that I see it, the more I want it, is Days Gone. It looks, I don't know, the more I watch it, the more it intrigues me. I think the openness in everything that we've seen of it. I'd like to know. I'd like to dive in deep when I have more time, because this week has been crazy with E3. But Days Gone is releasing February 22nd, as we mentioned earlier. Very happy about that because it's finally coming out. I can't remember if we officially predicted it, but I think you and I talked earlier this year, and I thought it was going to come out by the end of the year. But oh well.
Yeah, I'll check the notes on that.
We do get Hitman 2 though, and
yes, we do.
I like that. Hitman 2 is going to have multiple.
I'm especially excited about this because IO Interactive took back the rights from Square after Square was not happy with the launch, and we were concerned about how would this little studio without full funding be able to do this big project. And this is a fairly quick turnaround for a company that didn't have the financial banking of a massive publisher like Square. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're able to do in this world.
Yeah, I agree. I thought what I played of Hitman was good. It was better than some of the previous ones. This looks like it's even better than that. It looks like they're improving on what they did with the first Hitman. I haven't looked to see if they're doing a similar seasons model like they were doing in the last one. I hope that they don't, but we'll see what happens. Either way, you're going to get multiple protagonists with this. It has co-op as well, and
that to me feels like a blast.
Yeah, co-op in that is really cool. And when is the release date on that? Is that November?
Hitman, we don't have a release date on.
Okay, sorry. The demo's November.
Right.
Sorry, my bad. Demo November. Release date to come later on. Completely fine with that because as a single player-ish version, I think demos allow them to collect data and figure out things that are happening. They can also see from the player community, in a way that QA testing will not be able to do. I think you and I talked about this when it came to, I think when Fallout 4 came out, the first day, there were so many played hours that was more QA than they can do in like 5 years. It's just it's massive. So I think these demos are a really good way to do that too.
Slight correction: the game is actually coming out November 13th, but it will also have a demo that is available either now or soon. So that's something that you should keep your eyes open for. But yes, the actual release date is November 13th, and I'll be fact checking anything I can as I go because so much news,
lots of details. So this is going to go in my category of maybe Black Friday deal because there's so many things going on that maybe fits in that. Last year, Amazon and Best Buy and some were doing like all these brand new titles for like $27 or $30. It was insane. So there are some titles that I'm going to wait for. There's one that I'm not, and that's Red Dead. But the others I may wait. And I know the studios may hate me for doing that. But we got so many things going on here that I'm going to budget and maybe hit that later. Huh? Hit it? Yep. Hit it? Huh?
Got it. So Avalanche and Nemesis. Avalanche was purchased and they have gotten rearranged. But basically they're doing Generation Zero, and this is the first time we've seen another studio besides Obsidian working with WB on the Lord of the Rings stuff. I'm sorry, the Shadow of Mordor stuff. That has a Nemesis system. Basically, you're going up against AI and you're fighting against the robots. They're coming to take over the world, whatever. But like if you knock a mech down, then it's helper mechs will come and find it and rebuild it, and you might have to fight it again later, which makes a lot more sense than when you chopped the dude's arm off and kicked him off a cliff and then he came back like 5 minutes later.
Yeah,
it makes more sense in the world. But what's really exciting is they will have weaknesses or strengths. Like if you knocked out their legs, they come back and they have like these super armored legs, and like they have fewer weak points. And
it's very doomsday.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what another developer does with the Nemesis system, because it is a phenomenal system that adds so much variety to gameplay, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that.
Yeah, I pitched on this show before, but what I would love to do with it, if I had my own studio and I could do whatever I want, would be to do a superhero game. If I could get like a Batman license for it, throw the Nemesis system in there, because Batman is infamous for creating his own villains, and I think that certain accidents instead of them not only coming back and remembering, which is cool, but them gaining powers or if not a power, but like, you know, maybe a gadget or something, whatever it is that enhances them, and then you now have to take down this other villain. So this umbrella, if you will, of amazing supervillains, which is all dynamic. That was my idea. It's been my idea. So if you take it, you got to pay me.
Yes.
On to Insomniac, who's coming out with a new VR title, Stormland, which I completely missed in all of the stuff.
Yes. Stormland is kind of a sci-fi type ship shooty thing. It's VR. I don't have a VR system, so I kind of tuned out for a minute. But that is a thing that's coming this fall.
Yeah. And
that's really all the information we have on it right now.
Yeah. And what's coming out, not in the fall, but next year, is Twin Mirrors from the team at Don't Nod. Don't Nod's the creators of Life is Strange. And I mean, we don't know a lot about it yet. It's a psychological thriller. It looks very, to me, it looks like a kind of dark, kind of like Alan Wake, maybe without the quirkiness. We'll have to see, obviously, what's going to happen later. But again,
I like the initial story setup. You wake up, you don't remember anything, how you got there, whatever, and there's blood everywhere.
Yeah, great opening. Great opening. These guys are great at storytelling, at world building, and I'm really excited to see that. We'll talk more about them later on, or if you're watching on YouTube, go check out the E3 video. We'll talk more about Don't Nod in that. Either way, I think it's cool, it's interesting, and I like that the studio's doing something that's not Don't Nod, and expanding a little bit and stretching those storytelling abilities and muscles. It's really refreshing. Yeah.
And then, okay, so brief history on this. In 2006, I want to say, I got tickets to like an indie film festival, and we went through and we saw like probably 10 different short films by different studios, and one of those films was an animated feature that was about robots as gangsters. It was hilarious. I'll if I can find that video, I'll put it down in the comments, because it was wonderful. Cool. And I was like, dude, who did this? And at the very end, there's a little logo pops up, and it's a little red guy, and it said Bad Robot Pictures, and I was like, I want to watch those guys. And so I've kind of kept an eye out for Bad Robot Productions ever since then. And J.J. Abrams got connected with them after a little while, and so this has been his production company for a bit. And they recently announced they're creating Bad Robot games, and I am super excited about that, because their animation skills are absolutely stellar, and the creativity and the world building that they do without any words. I love it when you can have a scene and with no words you just understand what's going on. They're really good at that. And so to put that into a game, whatever kind of game it is, with J.J. Abrams, truckloads of money behind it, I feel really good about this. So this is not an announcement about anything that's coming out soon or next year. Yeah, it's way down the line. But for those of you who are interested in finding a development team when they're young and watching what they progress, watching how they do that, I encourage you to check out Bad Robot Games, because they are going places and they're going to give us some amazing games once they get up and rolling. I'm curious what direction they're going to take in regards to storytelling, because film, it's, well, obviously linear, but film has certain criteria it meets. It has certain constraints that it meets, and limitations, where video games are so much more open. We talk about different genres. We don't talk about even just genres of tone and atmosphere and story. We're talking about genres of how you play the game. So as that expands, I'm curious to see how they'll stretch their creative muscles in that, and I'm excited about it either way. They've got enough backing, so. Yeah, and one other thing that kind of brings, we'll close off on a positive note about this. One thing that's been really neat is to see how video games as a medium have evolved, especially in the past 2 or 3 years. And there are things that would not have been considered, air quotes, games, 5 years ago, and now it's like we're getting so many different experiences. Like that's what it is. There are games, there are experiences, and there are mishmashes between the two. And I think that Bad Robot Games could, they might have a game in their repertoire, but they might just give us an incredible experience that we get to go through and enjoy that way.
Yeah.
But either way, I have a lot of respect for their creative process, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next.
Exactly.
So
and we'll tell you what they're doing next time.
Thanks for watching This Week in Our Collective Heads. Subscribe over here and click the bell, and that way you'll know about any new videos that we put up, because we put up a lot of gameplay, a lot of stories from games and stuff like that, and gameplay is down here.
Yeah, and you got more editorials and news stuff down here. Check it out.